The role of pornography and social media consumption in the prevalence and nature of sexual fantasies among unmarried, engaged, and married population from a collectivistic culture. Sexual fantasy is a form of daydreaming, a positive or a negative sexual cognition based on inner perceptions, imagery, and thoughts, an intentional or unintentional mental imagery that is sexually arousing or erotic to the individual, and a process of mentally visualizing a certain image, an experience, or a scenario of sexual nature. Sexual fantasies are normal aspects of human sexuality and can be controlled by the person. Sexual fantasies are subjective, private, and independent of other human beings. These are not restricted to fantasize the sexual partners and can vary from person to person. Sexual fantasies reflect a person's sexual thoughts, desires, preferences, and goals. These fantasies are quite difficult to measure. Sexual fantasy is considered a basic and normal element of one's sexuality. Low frequency of sexual fantasies has been associated with low sexual desire. Sexual fantasies are universal, and 90 to 97% adults accept fantasizing sexually. People mostly fantasize sexually in accordance with cultural norms. Sexual fantasies have an important role in one's sexual and psychosocial health. Earlier studies have found a positive correlation of sexual fantasies with sexual desires, arousal, and excitement. Sexual fantasies are considered quite beneficial for inducing sexual arousal during masturbating, foreplay, sexual intercourse itself, and the development and maintenance of sexual behavior in future. Sexual fantasies can also be performed without having a sexual activity. Sexual fantasies can have both positive and negative consequences. The positive consequences may include reducing stress, getting rid of sexual guilt, and performing socially better with others. The negative consequences may include hypoactive sexual desire disorder. Sexual fantasies are mostly based on past sexual experiences. Sexual fantasizing has also been considered as a way of therapy and can be useful for modification of sexual arousal and alteration of sexual response and behavior. Studying sexuality is mostly regarded as taboo, especially in the collectivistic Eastern cultures. Most of the studies on human sexuality belong to the individualistic Western cultures and do not reflect the sexual aspects specifically related to collectivistic cultures. Culture plays a vital role in shaping our perceptions and behaviors. The social norms of individualistic and collectivistic cultures also vary significantly. Sexuality, in individualistic cultures, is taken more seriously and people can satisfy their sexual needs in an easier way as compared to the collectivistic cultures. Collectivistic cultures demand people to suppress sexual desires which, in comparison to the individualistic cultures, results in a higher prevalence of sexual problems. Sexual problems in Southeast Asia, for example, are considered the highest in the world. In collectivistic cultures, marriage is seen as the only solution to satisfy one's sexual needs. Marriages are mostly decided by parents. Dr. Sukoon intended to bridge a huge knowledge gap and conducted a study to measure the prevalence and analyze the nature of sexual fantasies based on gender and marital status. His study involved 404 adults from Islamabad, Pakistan. The sample was further categorized based on gender and marital status. The age of the participants ranged from 18 to 69 years with a mean age of 24 years. The educational qualifications of the participants ranged from matriculation to doctorate. The mean educational qualification of the participants was graduation, that is 16 years of formal education. Convenient sampling technique was used to involve the participants in the study. Sex fantasy questionnaire was used to assess the sexual fantasies. The findings revealed that sexual fantasies had significantly positive correlation with social media consumption, porn consumption, and age. Men consumed social media and porn significantly more than women. The average frequency of sexual fantasies among the participants were recorded as 28.81%. Percentage and ranking were also calculated for each of the 40 sexual fantasies, which revealed that the culturally conventional sexual fantasies such as kissing passionately, having intercourse with a loved partner, having clothes taken off, and making love elsewhere than bedroom or outside the doors, etc. were the top-ranked sexual fantasies for men and women. The culturally unconventional sexual fantasies such as sex with an animal, incest, mate swapping, homosexual activities, etc. were the least experienced sexual fantasies of the participants. The gender-based analysis revealed that men experienced almost all the sexual fantasies on significantly higher degrees than women. The study revealed that the understudied population belonging to a collectivistic culture did not experience sexual fantasies on higher degrees. The average frequency of sexual fantasies among the participants were recorded as 28.81%, which is significantly lower as compared to the Western studies in which the frequency was noted as 90 to 97% for adult Western population. A fantasy is usually that desire which cannot be performed in the existing situation. By fantasizing, a person gratifies that desire in an imaginary mode. Women in Western cultures, for example, fantasize about having sex with a stranger, sexual exhibition, rape, prostitution, younger boys, black men, domination, lesbianism, and extramarital. Men in Western cultures are also more prone to have extradyadic sexual fantasies. The influence of the collectivistic nature of the culture of the understudied population also reflected in the nature of their sexual fantasies. The culturally conventional sexual fantasies such as kissing passionately, having intercourse with a loved partner, having clothes taken off, and making love elsewhere than bedroom or outside the doors, etc. were the top-ranked sexual fantasies for men and women. The culturally unconventional sexual fantasies such as sex with an animal, incest, mate swapping, homosexual activities, etc. were the least experienced sexual fantasies of the participants. The findings revealed that Pakistani men and women did not fantasize out of the box, that is the way a fantasy is supposed to be experienced. The role of social media engagement and porn consumption was also rectified in the current study, whereby higher social media and porn consumption was significantly correlated with higher frequencies of sexual fantasies. Social media can help a person in developing new forms of sexual fantasies. Moreover, sexual fantasies are positively correlated with pornographic consumption. The study revealed that men consume more porn as compared to women, which is in line with the earlier literature. The study also revealed a significantly positive correlation between sexual fantasies and age. The Western literature gives mixed results in this regard, such as sexual fantasies being more common in younger populations and an increase of sexual fantasies with age among women. The study revealed that the unmarried and engaged experienced sexual fantasies on comparatively higher degrees as compared to the married. The earlier literature also supports these findings. The gender-based comparison in the study revealed highly significant differences in experiences sexual fantasies by Pakistani men and women. Men experienced almost all the understudied sexual fantasies on significantly higher degrees as compared to women. This gender-based difference is also contradictory to the Western studies, which revealed that men and women both fantasize sexually, but women fantasize more than men. Women are also regarded as more emotionally expressive than men. Sexual themes during fantasizing and the frequency of sexual fantasies may vary based on gender, since women mostly fantasize being in a submissive mode, such as being forced to sex, and men fantasize more in a dominating way. In the context of the understudied culture of the aforesaid study by Dr. Sukoon, both men and women fantasized in a neutral way that is neither too submissive nor too dominant. This also reflects the patriarchal nature of the collectivistic culture, where men think and act more freely than women. Although being morally better than men, women in collectivistic cultures are suppressed, sexually objectified, culturally more criticized than men, and are expected to adhere to the cultural norms more than men. They are more inclined toward mental disorders as compared to men and have more cultural difficulties in seeking professional psychological help. The role of sexual fantasies in sexual and marital satisfaction has been highly established. Sexual fantasies have been seen helpful in arousal and increasing sexual pleasure. Experiencing sexual fantasies is quite common in individualistic Western cultures. Most of the studies on sex and sexual fantasies belong to the individualistic cultures and do not reflect the experiences of sexual fantasies by people belonging to collectivistic cultures. Studying sexuality has also been a significant taboo in collectivistic Eastern cultures. The aforesaid study by Dr. Sukoon was the first ever effort from Pakistan and revealed several findings which are contradictory to the prevalent trends of sexual fantasies in Western societies. The findings of the study revealed that both men and women in a collectivistic culture experience sexual fantasies on a significantly lower levels as compared to the Westerners. Furthermore, the nature of their sexual fantasies is also quite neutral and did not gratify the established purposes of sexual fantasies. The findings of the study would surely contribute to the existing body of scientific literature. Thanks for listening. To read the entire paper, kindly visit www.drsakoon.info.